We will try to talk about who you are and or who am I, and we'll try to understand the existence of a person or existence of a being in this physical or non-physical world. If I ask this question, who are you? And if you ask this question to anybody, who he or she is, the possible answer is going to be, this is my name and this is what I do. The person will tell his name or his social or religious background. The person will talk about his financial status in the society. So, on asking this question, who are you? You will get the possible answers related to the physical world. The person will tell about how much money he has piled up so far, how much material items he has gathered so far in his life. So this is what the possible answers you will get if you ask this question to anyone or to most of the people in the society, that who are you? And if you further try to get into this question, you will also get the possible answers from the people who are in fact more towards spiritual life, and the people who are above in fact the physical attachment or the physical objects in this world. So you will get the possible answers from these kind of people, that I'm a person in fact who belongs to a higher consciousness. I'm the person who is a part of cosmic mind, or I'm the person who has a soul which is a pure soul, which is a part of ultimate reality. And you'll also get the possible answers like I'm the person, I'm a soul in fact who is being manifested by a physical property or a physical matter. And if you ask this question to the people, what they are looking for in this life, what they are actually seeking in this life, so you will get the answers like I'm looking for a peace, and I'm trying to achieve a mental state wherein there is no conflict, there is no suffering, there is no pain. So you will find these kind of possible answers from the people in fact in the society. But speaking these things and actually experiencing them, there are two different things. And when we talk about that I am looking for a peace, I am trying to avoid suffering, and I don't want any pain in my life, and I am trying to achieve a level or a mental state wherein there is absolute peace and there is stability, there is no tragedy, there is no suffering, there is always happiness, peace of mind, there is contentment in life, and there is a fulfillment in life. So these are possible answers you will find or you will get from the people living in the society based on their understanding of who they are. So in order to understand yourself, let's do one thing. I would recommend you to go in front of the mirror. And as you reach in front of the mirror, you will look at yourself. Look at yourself at least for a couple of minutes. And look at yourself very calmly with very stable senses. And try to feel and understand yourself. If you go in front of the mirror and look at yourself at least for a couple of minutes, you will see that you have a body. Like I have a body. You can feel this body. You can move this body at your will. And this body which you can see is composed of the physical matter. The matter which you have gathered from this physical world. So this body is supposed to go back to its sources, where it came from. That's the first thing if you look at yourself. Now, second thing is going to be your mind. The mind which we have, the mind which we have developed as a result of our experience in our society, the mind which we have developed as a result of our educational background, our religious beliefs and system, our peers, guidance for us, our parents' guidance for us. So whatever mind have developed so far is a result of our social upbringing, our cultural upbringing, and our religious background. So the mind which we are talking about right now is a result of physical realities. And the mind is a very important part if we try to talk about it. It's really very important. And let me just try to make a very clear point here. I'm not talking about brain. Brain is a physical organ which may have mind and may not have mind. For the same reason, mind is a separate entity which is not necessarily due to brain, because there are so many species in the world which do not have brain but they have mind. So brain is not a necessary condition for possession of mind. So if we talk about mind, the mind is a very separate entity which is shapeless, it's formless, and it doesn't work when we are in sleeping mode, and it doesn't work when somebody is in coma, it doesn't work when the person has died. So mind is active and is in operational mode only then when we are in conscious state. Now, for example, I'm talking to you, you are listening to me, you are watching this video, you are using your physical brain, but the entity which is trying to understand this video or my message is called mind. So different mind are result of different experiences. And if I talk about the absence of mind, you can very clearly check by yourself. When you are sleeping, your mind doesn't work. It's not working actively. And the absence of mind can make so many things absent in our life. For example, in order to feel something, in order to have a feeling, you need to have conscious state. In order to feel pain, you have to be in conscious state. In order to think something consciously, you have to be in conscious state. You may have a different level of thinking, but if you're talking about a thinking, a thought, so the thought has to be present, or thought can be created only in the the presence of mind. So if you want to experience something, you can experience things in conscious or unconscious both state, because our mind works when we are in sleeping, and people experience dreams, and they in fact get so many experiences. So that's a different thing. But in order to feel something, in order to feel pain, in order to have feelings, in order to have something, you need to be in conscious state. And in some religions, like if you talk about Western cultures like Christianity and Buddhism, and in Hinduism, conscious mind or the mind is also considered same as the consciousness. In Western culture or in Christianity, the mind and consciousness are considered as same. And in Sanatan Dharma and in Hinduism, the consciousness is something which is a level of somebody's, intelligence, we can say. So the like I said, the brain is not a necessary condition of mind, but mind is a condition of consciousness. If you do not have a mind, you will not have the consciousness, because consciousness can be developed and is purely based on the mind which we have. If there is anything which does not have mind, it will not experience the physical world. And if you are not able to experience the physical world, you will not be able to experience consciousness. So the consciousness has to be there in order to feel the existence. There can be different levels of consciousness, because there are, at least when you are in sleeping mode, you are not experiencing the consciousness. When you wake up, that's the very basic level of consciousness. And then you develop a certain level of consciousness as the result of the practice of meditation, and you develop the consciousness when you try to raise your intelligence above the physical reality or the objective world. So as your level goes up as a result of your meditation, then you develop your intelligence, your cosmic consciousness, as you go above the physical reality. So that's a very big subject to talk about. We'll talk about this sometimes in future. But the basic point and the important point which I want to mark here is that in order to understand yourself, or in order to understand ourselves, we have to understand one thing without any failure or without any doubt, that we need to understand our mind. We all have a same type of body. We all have two hands. We all have two legs. We all have two eyes. We all have a nose. We all have one tongue to talk. But we all have a different consciousness. We all have a different levels of consciousness. And the consciousness or the mind which we talk about, we need to work on these things. Until you work upon your consciousness, or until you work upon your mind, or unless you don't try to understand how your mind works, you will not be able to understand who you are. What makes you angry? What makes you happy? What is the core nature of your mind? How the consciousness can be developed? How your mind triggers different situations in different circumstances. So if you are not able to understand your mind, and if you are not able to control it, and if you are not able to channelize your mind's energy, you will always be feeling suffering, pain, tragedy, the conflict with your internal life, and the conflict with your physical world. So in order to bring a calmness, in order to bring a stability, a mental stability, in order to understand who you are, I would really recommend people, I would suggest people to go in front of mirror, look at yourself, look at the physical body, look at your mind, try to understand who you are, try to understand your conscious level, and then work accordingly. Only after understanding these phenomena, only after understanding these important aspects of the being or the human being, you come as a social being, you come as a responsible person. And if we don't try to understand ourselves, there is no difference between us and the animals who are completely subject to the physical world and the mechanism of the behavior. So the only difference that we have between us and the animals is that we have a consciousness. We have a consciousness, we have a mind, which we can experiment with, which we can understand, which we can control, and which we can grow as we try to do meditation and as we try to grow our knowledge.